Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bill and Frank Eat Pop Culture. I am Frank, and with me, as always, is my friend Bill. How you doing, Bill?
Hi, friend Frank. I'm doing great.
Bill?
Yeah.
If you recall, last week I told you I was taking the wife and the twins to see Bare Naked Ladies and Hootie and the Blowfish.
I do recall that.
So I thought it would be cool. I thought it was, I was like, well, this would be cool. Because they like music, and we took them to see Imagine Dragons a year ago, and they loved that. And I figured, well, how cool to take them to see like bands from my days. You know what I mean?
Sure. 90s jam.
90s jams. So they absolutely, first of all, Bare Naked Ladies still put on a fantastic show.
That doesn't surprise me.
I mean, they came out and within 5 minutes had my kids completely hooked. Just with like,
what did they open with?
They opened up with some song I didn't know. But I mean, I would say out of their whole set, they probably only played 3 songs I didn't know.
Yeah, I figured.
And then at the end, they went into this like medley of like covers and were doing all their goofy shit, and it was just awesome.
The big question, though. Big question. Did they play the Big Bang Theory theme song?
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
And when they go into the second verse, so strange.
Yeah, that is weird. That's like when I found out there were 3 verses to the Cheers song.
Yes, much akin to that. Now, the other thing that I realized that night is I don't like Hootie that much.
Nah, me neither. Like, there's probably a bunch of songs you recognize, but
yeah, I mean, like when he played like Hold My Hand and
Let Her Cry,
like that was great. But anything else, I was like, man, I don't fucking care. And the kids didn't care either. They were like, all right, we're ready to go. So we left, and we left like, well, hold on, I'm gonna give myself credit here. Like we stuck around for like an hour of Hootie.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Hootie.
Sure.
And he did multiple of his solo stuff.
That doesn't surprise me either.
Which I have zero.
Did you do Wagon Wheel?
Yes, as we were walking out.
Yeah.
As like, because you know me, I fucking hate country, so we out. But it was fun. I mean, it was it was hot and sweaty, and Hershey Stadium's all bleachers, so like my fucking ass was killing me. But anyway, so yeah, Bill. So this I'm recording this podcast live from my bed.
I'm recording it live from my couch.
Oh, that's new for you. That's a new spot, isn't it?
Yes, it is a new spot. I've reworked my podcast station.
Which couch?
The big one in the living room.
Why aren't you in the Maz cave?
It takes a while to cool that room down, and I didn't feel like turning on the air conditioner tonight.
You don't spend a lot of time in the Maz cave anymore, do you?
I do.
Oh, good.
That's usually where I watch TV when I get home from work and Francie is taking over the rest of the house.
That's a great room.
Yeah, it is. I'm going to miss it because I'm going to move. But maybe there'll be a new Maz cave.
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a Batman and there's always going to be a Bat cave. So there's always going to be a Maz. And you're supposed to finish that with, and there's always going to be a Maz cave.
And there's always going to be a Maz cave.
That's right.
There you go. I'm a little on edge. I have roughly 24 hours until Pennywise returns.
How many hours do you have until AEW tickets go on sale?
That would be Friday morning at 10 a.m. I will be purchasing 2.
Are you you're gonna make a go at it?
Yeah, one of my buddies from WWE that lives down here. We were together Tuesday night for our fantasy draft, and he expressed interest in going, so we're going to go.
That's I would say that's probably a good compromise when somebody expresses interest in going.
Yeah,
to go.
Frank, you know where the AEW event is going to be? At the Bojangles Arena.
Oh, it's bow time.
Bow time all the time down in Charlotte.
All right, Bill. Enough of this idle chit chat. Let's start the show. All right, Bill. So we had a pretty fun weekend of wrestling.
Yeah, another large wrestling weekend. They kind of sneak up on you these days.
Yeah, it's getting hard to have anything else to do on the weekends.
It's just getting hard.
I'm hard right now.
Well, you're in bed.
Yeah.
In your pajamas.
So usually I'd say 98% of the time, if I'm in bed in my pajamas,
you're erect.
I'm hard. Yep.
Right.
So, AEW All Out.
Yeah.
Did you watch?
I did. I unfortunately could not watch completely live. I ended up starting late, and then I got too tired by about 1 a.m, and I finished it the next day.
Why'd you start late?
I was out at a Labor Day function, barbecue, and I got back later than I thought I was going to. And then I had some drinks earlier in the day. Was not drunk anymore. Didn't drive drunk. No one drive drunk. But I was just tired, and I wanted to enjoy the last couple matches, so I saved them for the morning.
So my experience was similar, but not really.
Okay.
So let's do it this way. I'm gonna just do this out of the gate and get it over with.
Okay.
So I haven't watched NXT Takeover Cardiff. So here's what happened. So I was gonna watch it. So I had to take the L-Dog to a friend's house to a sleepover.
Gotcha.
I take him over to the sleepover. I go in, talk to my buddy Steve for a little bit, come outside. Steve Grow.
Nice.
Come outside. What did Frank do? Frank left the keys in the car with the lights on.
Oh, of course he did. What a doofus.
Yeah. Battery dead. So we jump the battery. Battery's still dead. Okay. So we jump the battery again. You want to make a guess?
Still dead.
Still dead. So So then Steve had to drive me home. So I got home later than I wanted to. Now I'm walking in as All Out is starting. I'm sorry, as the pre-show starting. So I walk in honor of Joey Janela. I told Mary to get me a case of White Claws.
Yeah.
And
you should have gotten Cracker Barrel takeout.
I should have. Have you ever taken a shit after eating Cracker Barrel biscuit chicken and dumplings?
I have not.
Oh,
had the pleasure.
It is like, it reminds me of the movie Seven. So I get home and Isabel's having a sleepover. So her friend's parents, who we're friendly with, they had stopped by. And they were chit-chatting with Mary on the couch.
Idle chit-chat.
Just chit-chatting. Idle chit-chatting. And I came in like a big boisterous jerk-off, and I was like, put on TNT! Because I thought the pre-show was on TNT. It wasn't. So then I go to Bleacher Report. I got to fucking log in, do all this shit. It was just turning out to be a shitty day. I was already mad I missed NXT. Now my fucking car is still over at Steve's. Don't know what's going on there. I'm thinking I'm going to have it towed. So then I just start pounding White Claws. I must have had, I'm going to say I had 13 White Claws.
Jesus Christ.
So I ended up getting really, really drunk. And it got to the point where, like, I wasn't really watching the show.
Yeah.
Like, while I was watching it, but I couldn't remember anything. And I was, like, talking to the people because I liked them that were over, and they were like asking questions about the show, and they were showing interest in professional wrestling, so I was like trying to encourage that. And then they left, and then for the last few matches I was absolutely annihilated because I kept taking down White Claws. So when I woke up Sunday morning, I rewatched the whole thing again, this time with the L-Dog because he was home.
Yeah.
For some reason, went back the next day, car started right up with a jump. Weirdest thing. My whole Saturday, I was so excited to just watch wrestling all day, and I ended up like barely watching any. So it's kind of a bummer.
Seems like a lack of self-control.
Yeah, I got to plan better. But anyway, watched it Sunday morning, Didn't read any spoilers or anything. Overall, I thought it was a solid show.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. Like, I was fully prepared to get yelled at by you, and certainly yelled at by people on social media. But yeah, I thought it was solid, but not spectacular.
Yeah, it was not.
Definitely,
It was not as
it
good
just
as
it
Double or Nothing.
definitely, yeah, no, it definitely wasn't as good as All In or Double or Nothing. Um, there, it was solid. There was like maybe one or two matches that stood out, like 4-star and above level. Um, but nothing, nothing really crazy happened. There wasn't anything that was like super shocking, which I guess is really not fair because there was at the previous two. There's not going to be at every one, so I got to kind of get that out of my head. That's sort of an unfair expectation to put on them. But I did actually think some of the matches were going to be better than they were.
I thought. So let's start. Let's go down the card.
Okay. Do you want to go in order? Do you want to go in order of the way the show went? Because I have it here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so counting the, you want to do the pre-show as well?
Sure.
Okay, so the first thing was the Casino Women's Battle Royal. Don't have much to say. As far, Battle Royals are really tough. As far as Battle Royals go, it was fine. I think the predictable person went over, Nyla Rose. I popped a little bit for Mercedes Martinez being the 30th person. That was kind of cool. Or maybe it's not 30, 21st person.
The Joker.
Yeah, the Joker. So that was kind of cool. But I thought maybe Britt Baker had a shot at winning, but I think Nyla Rose was the right choice. I don't think anything spectacular happened. It wasn't so boring that I fell asleep, but it also wasn't fantastic.
I think that's a perfect assessment. You missed one major thing, though.
What's that?
The bad girl.
She was in it.
She looked phenomenal.
She always looks phenomenal. I mean, we're going to date at some point. She doesn't know it, but it's going to happen.
Can I just sleep on the floor next to the bed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, next match.
Next match which was the final match of the pre-show, was Jack Evans and Angelico versus Private Party. Again, for me, it was a good match. It was a really nice. I thought a pretty nice showcase for Private Party. They do some really great tag team stuff, sort of innovative, which I really like. And I like that Angelico and Evans attacked them after the match, cementing themselves as heels, which was nice.
Yep.
But wasn't it was fine. Again, a lot of these things there's not enough of a story really, but hopefully that'll change once TNT starts.
It was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Private Party. It was a showcase for Private Party. I mean, I guess you could say it was a showcase for Evans and Angelico too. I'm a fan of Angelico, but once again, it's like I mean, we keep going back to it, and it's going to sound like a broken record because you just said it, but it's really hard to give a shit when there's no storyline. And maybe maybe if you're like a hardcore indie fan and your whole wrestling world is no storylines, it's different. But my pedigree is enough, no pun intended, is enough of that of a WWE fan that I want, to me, the storylines is what makes professional wrestling great.
Yeah, honestly, it's why I never got into Ring of Honor, because their whole gimmick is work. That's it. Work rate.
Yeah, so I mean, it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I like you said. I mean, we've got a heel tag team now, very clearly, so that's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's much else to say about it. Private Party's definitely a great tag team, and so up and coming, and something to watch, something to be excited about. Getting them in a program with somebody on TV week after week. Angelico and Jack Evans. Angelico was great on Lucha Underground. So, yeah, I mean, their tag team division looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, sort of, once we went on to the main show, the opening match, which you know what, when we previewed this event and we talked about this match, we thought it would be the opener, and it was a good choice for an opener, and it was exactly what we said it was going to be. SoCal Uncensored, Daniels, Kazarian, Scorpio Sky versus the Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. It was everything we talked about. Neither of us really care for Marco Stunt that much, but I love Jungle Boy. Luchasaurus is growing on me. SCU is a really polished team. It was a really fun opening match that popped the crowd. I thought Luchasaurus was the standout in this one. I thought his stuff was really good. And it was, SoCal Uncensored, I thought needed to win. So I mean, it did exactly what an opening match is supposed to do: get the crowd going.
I was going to say the same thing, Bill. Like, to me, the standout in this match was Luchasaurus. Golden Boy looked great.
Yep.
SCU. I mean, they're a great. They're a great. First. What do they call it, Bill? Curtain
jerkers.
Yeah, they're great curtain jerkers. I mean, they come out. All the marks love them. They get the crowd hyped. Kazarian is just so fucking cool. Daniels is, and I know you're finally coming around on the guy. Like, he's a cool dude, and they're solid workers, and like their whole gimmick in AEW is going to be to put people over.
Yeah, they're the veteran team that gives people the rub, brother.
So, but yeah, I mean, I thought Luchasaurus came out of this match looking fantastic.
Me too.
And yeah, I thought it was a great opening match. I mean, once again, absolutely zero fucking storyline.
Yep.
But once again, exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yep. And if ever there's a place for a match that doesn't have a storyline, it's usually the opener. It's really just there to get the crowd hyped. And then they got hyped in time for. Oddly, I was surprised watching the show that Kenny Omega and Pac were second. I thought they would be later in the card. And I don't know if this is – I guess this is kind of disappointing, but this was the best match on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. Like, I think this was everybody's best match. This was the wrestler's best match. This was the announcer's best match.
Yeah.
I thought a lot of the ref work in the show was shoddy. This was the referee's best match. Like, the story that, so, they came into this pay-per-view, and Kenny arguably, probably right along with Cody, had the best story going into the pay-per-view with the Moxley heat, right?
Yeah.
Moxley gets hurt. He's out. So now, like, they bring Pac in, and it's like completely, as far as I know, I mean, like, what's the story behind it? There's no explanation. It's like, okay, now you're going to fight Pac. So now there's like no heat except the natural heat that Pac brings because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you, it popped me so hard when Justin Roberts doing the ring introductions was like, he is a bastard.
Yeah,
that cracked me up.
So good. But from the moment the Kenny and Pac started walking out to the ring, the announcer started telling the story.
Yep.
That this match was all about. Kenny's been focused on Moxley. Has he focused enough on Pac? Is he going to be ready for Pac? Is he taking Pac serious enough? They said this gave me chills when they said it, because I love it, because this is where I think they're going with Kenny. Because he's 1-2 now.
Yeah.
They said, did he leave his heart in Tokyo? Or did he leave his heart in Japan? And I love that. And I think that's going to be where they go with Kenny. Like, I think they're going to break him down, and he's going to have to rebuild himself. And I love that story because
this was great. This was great because it was, 20, 25-ish minutes of great work with a finish that literally shocked everybody. Like, that you could feel the crowd was stunned by the finish because to everybody's knowledge, this was a one-off. So like, no way Kenny doesn't go over. So you're not expecting that finish to come out. And the announcers, like you said, did a great job putting over the shockingness of the finish, which is, I think this is a 4-star match for sure. Maybe you could even bump it to like 4.25. It was that good. Unfortunately, this was like, fortunately it was great for them, but unfortunately it was the best match on the show, which means I think the 2 matches I was really expecting a lot from underperformed a little bit.
So before we get into that, another thing I really liked about this show is the announcers. They spoke a lot about people's win and loss record.
Yeah, that's been a point of emphasis for sure.
I love it. Like, oh, now he's 1-0. Oh, Kenny's 1-2. Cody's, 2-0-1 or whatever they said. And I mean, they kept they kept emphasizing the win-loss record. I've never watched a wrestling show and heard a win-loss record. I mean, it was very different to hear, and at first I was like, wow, that sounded kind of weird. It was like when a dog hears like a weird sound and they like turn their head a little bit.
Yeah.
Like right. I kind of went, what? And then I realized what they were doing, and I just thought it was so cool. They even had like next to their names when they came out their records.
Yeah. Well, they said they were going to make it a point of emphasis, and so thus far they ain't lying.
Yeah, but I think that's where they're going with Kenny. Do you agree with that? Like they're going to say like this, he left his heart in Japan, and
yeah, that could be a really cool angle.
So yeah, I don't know if it was last week or whenever I said to you, I'm like, or maybe it was, I forget what it was, but I said to you like, what are they going to do with Kenny? Like what are they going to do with him? Because he's not in the title hunt. He's not, But yeah, I mean, if that's the story they go with, that could be one of the most interesting stories on a week-to-week basis. That
for sure.
So, all right. So what was next?
So after that was the fucking batshit crazy Cracker Barrel clash: Joey Janela, Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, which was what you'd expect. Jimmy Havoc came out staple gunning himself. At one point, he had a mouthful of tacks. Was super uncomfortable to watch. And Janela did his, Janela had the holy shit moment with the flipping over the top rope powerbomb through the table on the floor, which was just, he's going to die. Like, he's going to die in the ring.
That's his goal.
It wasn't, I don't think it was the greatest, Janela type match that Janela's had. I kind of wanted him to go over, to be honest.
I thought
I hate that they put Jimmy Havoc over. He's my least favorite.
I thought it underperformed.
Yeah, I kind of did.
I mean, like a lot of the spots to me looked so fake and forced. Yeah. The spot with the tacks, he was just sitting there in the chair, and they weren't even selling like holding him to the chair or anything. He was kind of just sitting there, and then like the tape fell off, and he continued to just sit there with the tacks in his mouth, and it was like, I don't know, they had these ideas and they were going to do them regardless of how badly they got botched and stuff. And then those Cracker Barrels, Jimmy Havoc sold like lugging one down the ramp, and then Darby Allin like picks one up with one hand and puts it behind his back. So it was like obvious that they weighed like, the weight of a Nerf football. So I don't know, like those kinds of things kind of took me out of it a little bit.
I can agree with that.
But that's not to say like, that coffin drop is still disturbing to watch. The spot that you just talked about with Janela getting was it even a power bomb? It was more like a fucking like a pile driver tombstone onto the table outside the ring.
It was nuts.
How about the skateboard with the spikes on it on the back of Janela? Like that was cool. Yeah.
The positive to me is that, if anything, like the match underperformed a little bit, but Janela was, for me, clearly the star, which I'm happy about.
To me, you've got Cody, Kenny, Moxley,
Bucks.
Jericho, Bucks, and I think Janela is like right under them.
Yeah, he's right under them with like MJF and really probably Sean Spears at this point, and then your Trent Berettas and of the world.
All right, so go ahead. So what was next?
Speaking of Trent Beretta, next was the Dark Order versus the Best Friends, which actually I thought was, I wanted it to be a little better. The crowd doesn't really. They're pushing this Dark Order group pretty hard, but the crowd doesn't know who they are and isn't used to them. So like they're kind of dead for a lot of their stuff. I think Beretta and Taylor are great, but to me it was just okay. Like I like that it had some stakes to it because the Dark Order now get a first round bye in the tag tournament. But
the best thing about this match was Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing that ended up popping the crowd the most was Orange Cassidy at the end. I still don't know if I like this gimmick or not. I really don't.
With the Tope Cias, what is it? How do you say it?
I don't know.
Tope Cias Soda with his hands in his pockets. Like,
yeah,
this is great. I like it. I'm gonna make the statement. I like it.
There you go. So yeah, that popped the crowd, and that was funny. So I mean, I'm not sure if I like the gimmick or not, but that little part at the end was booked well. That was good. After that was my personal piss break. Hikaru Shida versus Riho. Winner faces Nyla Rose on the debut of AEW on TNT for the women's title. It was fine. I guess honestly, it was a little better than I thought it was going to be. Riho went over, which is what we expected. But again, like no storyline. As far as I know, the two people didn't really have that much heat. It's two people I've barely heard of. I just didn't care.
Yeah, I like Riho. Have no idea who the other one was. Still don't. Don't want to. I knew Riho was going to win, so it was kind of hard for me to like be vested in the match. Not because I didn't, just because I knew who was going to win. Like there was never a point where I was like, Riho's not going over.
I agree. So next was the match I was looking forward to the most, which was Cody versus Shawn Spears. One of the things I want to say before we start talking about the match is that what I do really like is the thing he has going with MJF right now, where MJF is like, thinks Cody's his best friend, and Cody picked MJF to support him. This, to me, all feels like the very early stages of a very long-term storyline, which I think is going to be really cool. I think it'll be eventually, they'll have their feud, and that'll be like a star-making feud for MJF, I think. Maybe not, but that's just what I think.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think when he chose MJF over DDP, that was clear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I guess all I want to really say is that I don't think they're doing anything just like by pure coincidence. I think this is planned out shit.
I hope you're right.
Yeah, which makes me happy. Also, want to give special shout out to
Bill Happy,
the Star Trek gear that Cody and Brandy were wearing. I thought it was awesome.
So great.
I loved it. He's such a dork. I love it. That being said, the match, I wanted it. I kept waiting for it to kick into like the second gear.
So it's weird, right? Because it started at 100 miles an hour.
Right, which was cool. I was like, oh, this is going to be so great.
Me too. I was like, oh. And then it just kind of...
Me.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest pop of the whole match was fucking big fat Arn Anderson.
Yeah, what happened to Arn Anderson? Arn Anderson ate Arn Anderson.
I mean, the crowd popped huge for it, so, I mean, that's cool. I mean...
It was kind of cool seeing Arn Anderson give the spine buster, though. I mean...
Yeah, and stare at Tully, which was cool. Like, they used to be a tag team, obviously. So that was cool. And it keeps the storyline going, I guess. I doubt they brought Tully and Arn in for just the one thing. So it was fine. I actually, as much as I love Cody Rhodes, he's if not my favorite active wrestler, my second favorite. I would have put Spears over on this one. I think he needed it more. So I don't think it was the right booking decision.
I was also surprised. I mean, Cody doesn't need any juice. You know what I mean? Um, it felt like they were building this whole story and feud, if you can call it a feud. It's only lasted 2 months, 3 months. It felt like Cody was finally taking, matters into his own hands of what he was trying to do the whole time he was at WWE, which was get Sean Spears booked, get Sean Spears, get Sean Spears some fame, some love, brother. But
Rub.
and then, I mean, I thought the whole time that Spears was going over, and
Yeah, me too.
and it just seems like, well, so Cody, like, what have you done that's any different than what WWE did?
Yeah. Okay, so next was the ladder match between the Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. I'm not going to say a whole lot. Like,
this was fucking nuts.
It was fucking insane. It was just, I mean, I don't know if I want to say it was more insane than the last one. So same level of insane, I guess. I mean, what Matt and Nick Jackson are able to do while in the air is amazing. I will say this is the one I'm going to remember the most because not only was it an insane, probably 4-star match, but then you had the LAX run in at the end, which was, if there was anything that was notable really about the show and, a surprise, it was that.
Yeah, was there any talk about that? Because they're like Impact mainstays.
Yeah, they have been forever. I mean, I hadn't heard. I knew that they weren't with Impact anymore. But I hadn't heard. I guess I shouldn't be that surprised.
Does that mean Conan's coming?
One can only hope. You can never really get enough K-Dog, the favorite wrestler of Jared Kenosha.
Jared, I don't think I ever played a game of WCW NWO Revenge where Jared wasn't Conan.
He loved the somersault clothesline gimmick.
Yeah, that's all he did.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've seen a bunch of LAX matches because I haven't.
No,
but I know that people regard them as one of the best tag teams in the world.
And I also read online that Impact Wrestling copyright has the LAX name copyrighted, so they have to be called something different.
Yeah, well, Excalibur called them. He called them Los Puerto Ricanos.
Yeah,
I think so. Maybe that's what they're going to go by.
Yeah,
I like that they played up the Puerto Rican gimmick with the flag and everything. Shows you how much I know. I thought because they were with Conan, they were all Mexican, but I guess not.
Yeah,
and that's not like, and I'm not like, I don't want to. Don't give me any heat for that. All right, like don't at me. Like I'm just saying, like because they were with Conan, and like I said, I never really like if I bumped into them in the supermarket, I wouldn't know who they were until now. So I just knew Conan was with them, so I just assumed they were all Mexican. So I didn't know. I kept wondering why they didn't refer to them as LAX.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. But but that's also interesting because that was like one of Callis's big things when he took over Impact was like, we're going to let the wrestlers own their own gimmicks.
Interesting. Very WWE of them. So I think the right team, they were wrestling for the AAA World Tag Team Championships. Those belts are not going to be featured on TNT.
Yeah,
so
get those belts out of here. Get it out of here.
Pretty clear that the Bucks were going to lose.
Yeah, but man, what a match! There were some awesome spots, some pretty innovative things off of the ladders. But yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed it. If everybody's paying attention, Bill just said something positive about the Bucks.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it positive. I would say it was not negative. So the final match was the inaugural AEW World Championship match. Adam Hangman Page versus Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is my favorite wrestler ever. And I think the result of this was the absolute right call. But I think this was a little long and a little slow. and I wanted it to be a little better than it was. It was good, but it wasn't the epic match I was hoping the first ever AEW World Title match was going to be. I mean, they went like 31 minutes, which is like too long, I think.
Well, first of all, I would say it's insane that a guy Jericho's age can go 31 minutes.
He shouldn't. He should. I mean, he shouldn't have. They shouldn't book that.
I mean, when I watched it the first time, my initial thought, I was 13 claws deep, but my initial thought was, wow, like what an intense, like what a just like a evenly paced, slow, grinding, intense match.
Yeah.
When I watched it back the second time, I was like, wow, what a slow match.
Yeah, it was a little, like I said, I think it would have felt so much more intense and fast if that had been booked at like 20 minutes rather than they shaved 10 minutes off it. I feel like it would have been way better. Sometimes sometimes like getting too much time is a thing.
But, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I called this 4 months ago.
You did.
You did. I think Jericho going to TV with the belt is the smartest thing they could have done.
I agree. And it looks like whoever's chasing him first, it's not going to be a rematch because it looks like Hangman has gone right into a storyline with Pac. So it'll be interesting to see who comes after Jericho first, which babyface is going to be, stepping up. I don't know who it's going to be, because it looks like Hangman and Pac are going to go at it. They've already confirmed that Omega and Moxley are going to fight at Full Gear, which is like the worst pay-per-view name ever. In October, or I think in October, it's in Baltimore. So we know Omega and Moxley are going to have their match they were supposed to have this weekend at that event. Looks like Pac and Hangman. I'm not sure who steps up to fight Jericho. Maybe it's Cody. That would be kind of dope.
Well, whoever it is, it will be defended for the first time in Philadelphia at the Liacouras Center, where I will be in
attendance,
constant state of ejaculation,
arousal.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we're doing a scale of 1 to 10, for me this gets like a 7, which is surprising. Not counting Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen, all of the AEW events so far have been a 9 or 9.5. So it was a step down. Still a super solid show. If WWE had put on a show this good, I'd be like raving about how good the show was. So
yeah, I mean, I give it so I'm like at a 7.5 just because I give it like a solid C.
Yeah. So we're right in the same ballpark.
Yeah. So Bill, I really owe you a pretty big thank you.
I feel like that's true all the time, but what specifically this time?
I really, really am digging your Podcoin app recommendation.
Podcoin is insane. I love it. It's the only way I listen to my podcast now. You can actually fire up Podcoin and get paid to listen to your favorite podcasts.
And all you need to do is go to the iPhone or Android App Store, download the app, and if you put in this special code, CULTURE, CULTURE, you're going to get 300 points right off the bat to your first cup of coffee at Starbucks, to your first Amazon gift card, to your first charity. Listen to podcasts, earn money while you're doing it, download the Podcoin app, Podcoin. I swear it'll change the way you listen to podcasts.
The other big show this weekend, we won't go into it in detail because you haven't watched it yet because you're a lazy, terrible person. But amazingly enough, there were 2 shows this weekend, and I gave UK TakeOver Cardiff a 9.
Really?
I cannot tell. I cannot tell you. There were 6 matches. All of them were solid, including the special surprise Cesaro match, which was fantastic.
Who'd he fight?
I forget the guy's name. Dragunov.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the Cardiff crowd went berserk for Cesaro. But the tag match and the main event. First, the main event was the best wrestling match of 2019. I've watched it twice now. And I feel comfortable saying it.
And that's what Walter and Bate?
Walter and Tyler Bate. It was fucking unbelievable. Which is, I mean, the fact that that is the best match of the year for me so far is just bizarre.
Well, Walter's fucking awesome.
Dude, and Bate is such a good, like, never give up white meat babyface. Like, he's like young Daniel Bryan almost. But it was really, I won't go through match by match. Maybe we can talk about it, if you watch it before we record next time. But, the NXT Tag Team Championships were defended. And there's a team, Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. They were fucking amazing in this match. It was awesome. So those two matches were both over 4 stars for me. 4.5 for the tag team match, 5 stars for the Walter and Bate.
Was it better than Walter and Dunn?
Yes.
Wow.
I think so.
That's saying something.
And then, I don't know am I allowed to give you spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tony Storm lost the women's title.
What am I hearing?
Who are you hearing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Me?
Is there something going on in the background?
Not in my background.
That was weird. All right, never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll just edit past it. So the shocking was the women's title match. Toni Storm lost her belt after a relatively short reign.
That shocks me.
Yeah, she lost it to Kaylee something.
Kaylee Ray.
Yeah, her. All I can think of is that maybe Toni Storm is actually popular enough that they might bring her over to the old states.
The United States, right? You're talking about the
United States of America.
Okay.
Anyway, though, I for both Frank, my lazy co-host, and the rest of the wrestling audience, I would make it a point to go out of your way to. If you're not going to watch the whole show, fine. Watch the tag match and the main event. I was blown away.
Speaking of your lazy co-host, I'm laying here picking belly button lint out of my navel.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, you're going to turn on so many people with that imagery.
Yep. So, how was the Ripley match?
So there wasn't one.
I thought she was wrestling somebody.
Yeah, no, that didn't happen. I kept waiting for her on the show, and it never came.
I thought she was wrestling like Niven or McNiven or.
Nope. Nope. So it was Toni Storm and Kaylee Ray. There was a last man standing match between Dave Mastiff and Joe Coffey, which was pretty good. Not great, pretty good. The tag match, and then Noam Dar, who I really like, fought Travis Banks, and then Cesaro fought Dragunov.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it this weekend for sure. I figured the Walter match was going to be good because I don't think the guy's put on a bad match since he's been there. Because the Walter Dunn match at the night before Mania was fucking sick.
Yeah.
But, I got to watch it.
This one's a match of the year candidate for me.
I love that. I think that's... I wonder, when they bring NXT to Wednesdays, do they mix in the UK stuff?
I feel like they should, because they have 2 hours to fill all of a sudden.
Yeah, because it would kind of be weird them having like NXT on USA and then NXT UK still on the network.
Yeah, the only thing though is that I remember reading that when Walter signed his deal, his like gimmick was, I don't want to wrestle in the United States, I want to stay in Europe.
Yeah, but I get that, but I feel like you put enough money under somebody's nose and
maybe.
Money talk, everybody's got a price.
I'm not going to try to do the $1 Million Man laugh.
Ted DiBiase. Yeah, man. So, good weekend of wrestling. I'll catch up on NXT UK. And you got anything else on it or what?
Nope.
Anything on King of the Ring? You want to?
No, I mean, other than I'm completely wrong all the time. I mean, we both are. Ali lost. Andrade lost. Corbin won. So, I mean, I don't know.
Wait a minute, did Corbin win?
Yeah. Corbin won, and Joe and Ricochet went to a draw. So it's a triple threat next week to see who goes to the finals.
That's right.
Corbin, Joe, and Ricochet.
That's the triple threat.
And then on the SmackDown side, it's Elias and who the fuck is the other one? Who I can't remember. I feel like it's going to be Ricochet and Elias now.
Ooh, no way.
Because I really think Ricochet is going from Raw from the one side of the bracket. Yeah, because now the semifinal on the other side is Elias and fucking Gable.
Ricochet doesn't need this. Like,
I still think
Joe needs this.
Maybe it'll be Joe, but I feel like it's not going to be heel final. So you really think Chad Gable's going to be in the final?
Well, when you put it that way.
I don't. I think it's going to be Elias. Can you imagine if it was Elias and Baron Corbin?
Dude, first of all,
people would kill themselves.
I would love King Elias.
Can you imagine if that's the match they go with? That would be such a troll move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure McMahon's sitting in his office laughing about it.
Yep.
All right, Bill. So a couple weeks ago, I freaked out because I didn't think we had enough to talk about on the show, and I asked our users for questions. And then
panicked Frankie.
Yeah, I panicked. And then we had too much to talk about for the next 3 weeks. So I'm finally going to get to these questions that our users asked us. So yay, user questions. So the first one comes from the Discount Podcast, and they're you can follow them on Twitter at Discount Podcast. Now, Bill, I know you're going to have strong feelings about this question, so I'm very interested in what you have to say. What were your thoughts on the last Power Rangers movie? Should they continue with it or reboot it again?
First of all, I don't have strong feelings. I saw it.
Really? Oh, you're ahead of me.
I saw it on an airplane. I didn't love it. But it was sort of treated, a little more non-kitschy, which I thought was the right direction. But I don't, if I were that, I don't feel like it made enough of an impact or, quite frankly, enough money to warrant a sequel with the same people. So I'd probably just reboot it. But really, I think really it's sneaky option 3, which is nothing.
Right. So Frankie's question was going to be, does the world need a Power Rangers movie franchise?
I feel like no. You know what? If we're going to sink our money into something like that, why don't we do a real Voltron movie? How about that?
Got it. The Dumb King chimed in on this one at Dumb King 2. He said, about 10,000 unsold DVDs ended up in my dump kingdom, so I think Power Rangers should hang it up.
So, I mean, I can't argue with that.
Oh, this is, okay, so this one is from the Major Dude podcast.
Major Dude. Not Major Dad, Major Dude.
No, not Major Dad, who is married to Delta Burke, at the Major Dudes. What do you like better, big boobs or big ass?
Okay, that's a great question, because I've noticed this about myself, about how much I've changed over the years. If you had asked me this question...
You're taking this very serious. I like it.
If you had asked me this... Because I've actually had this conversation relatively recently with my brother. If you had asked me this question when we were living together in college in 1998, it's 100% boobs. Because I'm young. I just want...
Schnoobies.
Yeah, I just want to see boobies. They're fun. But as I've gotten older, I'm much more of an ass man now. I would take sort of regular size boobies and a nice apple bottom first. Your thoughts?
Can you hear Bill? Can you hear me?
No.
You can't hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm kind of, I kind of in the same thing. So it depends. When you say big ass, like it depends. Like, um, I like a big ass if it's a big ass does that's a big ass from like doing a lot of squats.
Yes, that's what I don't mean
Um,
like a dump truck. I mean like
I don't want like mud
no,
flaps.
right.
You got a big ass because like you don't fucking do anything. Um, I mean, I'm still a boobies guy. I love the boobies, but yeah, I've come around on the big ass. But I like it. It's got to be like a athletic. I do a lot of squats and deadlifting ass.
Yeah, and really on the boobies, like back in the day, it was like they were big and sloppy. That was fine. Now I'm much more into smaller and perky.
Okay, Bill. Next question.
No segue. Just go to the next question. You know what? At a little PS on the end of that, I think I'm above both boobs and ass. I would rate legs now in my older age. Just putting that out there.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Continue.
Well, that wasn't part of the question.
No, I know, but neither was Don't Make a Power Rangers movie, but it was okay then.
The Footlong Pony podcast.
Ooh, Footlong. Who got the Footlong?
That was Dumb and Dumber,
It was.
wasn't it? Best scenes in a bad comic book movie.
Oh, wow, that's such a great question.
It is a good question. From the Footlong Pony podcast.
So you had a chance to think about this ahead of time. Is there anything spring to your mind while I try to go through my Rolodex?
I like the scene in A Dark Knight Rises. Batman pretty much tells Gordon that he's Bruce Wayne. It gives me chills and makes me cry a little bit every time I see it.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. In the same movie, when Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes to pick up the package at the end, and the lady who gives it to him says, "You should go by your real name, Robin."
That was a nice little.
That gives me a little, even though it makes no sense, it gives me chills. Also,
little chillies.
I'm trying to think of something in a really bad movie. The one that jumps to my mind is I really like the initial meeting on the playground between Matt Murdock and Elektra in the Ben Affleck in the Ben Affleck Jennifer Garner Daredevil. That was my favorite part of that movie, I think. And if that movie happens to be on TV and that part hasn't happened yet, I'll watch it to that part.
Okay.
Also, there are a couple scenes involving Jim Carrey as the Riddler in Batman Forever that I don't hate.
Second part of the question,
Okay.
Bill. Worst scenes in good comic book movies.
Okay, so the easy answer here is the woman power moment.
I knew you were going to say
from
that.
Endgame, which makes me sick. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm a woman hater, and I'm all for Me Too and Time's Up, all of it. But that was
I mean, we just talked about how much you love boobs and ass and legs.
That moment is so forced, which drives me crazy.
Can I be honest? I think that's the perfect answer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
because that's like the best comic book movie.
Yeah, right up there,
and that might be the worst scene.
Yeah, right up there for sure. We talked about this a while back when we had John Beaver on. Both Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 are good, really good movies. The initial Sam Raimi ones, but the "you mess with New York, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us" is terrible.
Yes,
and also the scene when they're passing him
like Jesus
on the subway drives me crazy too. So both of those stick out also. And then going back to part one, I think there are a number of really good scenes in Suicide Squad involving Harley Quinn. And that's a terrible movie.
No good scenes involving Jared Leto, though.
Jared Leto ruins everything. And you know who he's going to do next, Frank? Morbius.
Oh, is he Morbius?
Morbius, the living vampire.
It's like, is there a combination you hate more of anything on this planet?
No. I mean, they can have
You hate Morbius.
They can have Jared Leto play like Wolverine, and I'll just give up comic book movies altogether.
What does that even mean, the living vampire?
I don't know. Why? I don't understand. Like, and this is where poor Tom Holland is going to be trapped for the rest of his life. But, I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole.
So this question's from Lewis Ream, I believe that's how you say it, at Lewis_Ream on Twitter. And he asks, oh, he's got some wordplay here. I love puns and wordplay, Bill. Why did that snide bastard Zach, see what he did there?
Yep.
Have to kill Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen, in Batman vs. Superman, Yawn of Injustice?
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of acidity in this tweet.
A lot of acidity, a lot of clever plays on words. That was fun. I don't know the answer. Do you?
No, I don't think there is an answer.
Yeah.
I think Lewis just wanted to.
I think he really just wanted to say Yawn of Injustice.
Yeah, snide bastard Zach.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, it looks like Bill and I are having some technical difficulties here. We use Zencaster to do this since Bill's down in the Carolinas and I'm up here in Lancaster. So the website is not being friendly tonight. And so I got to say thanks for listening. And check us out on Twitter at BFEPopCulture. And we will talk to y'all next week. Be well.
Brought to you by the Odd Pod Squad.